Give me a second. So can you see this file basically, like what exactly you see? This is basically our main thing. Like in Angular 1, we used to have a controller, we used to have a view, and we used to have a model. But in Angular 2 or Angular 4, basically, we have come up with the concept of annotations, first of all, Puneet. Like we are annotating a class. Can you see this class is there? And class is a feature of ECMAScript 6. Okay. So internally, we are annotating this class as a component. And what exactly component is? Component tells component basically at that component gives you a metadata, like what exactly the class would be. Like it gives you a selector, it gives you a template of your HTML, and it gives you the style, like what all style you want to put on the same thing, right?
Okay.
So one more thing, Puneet, do you want to get into the logical part first or the environment setup part first?
Yeah, yeah.
Which
En,
part
en,
should I?
environment setup.
Okay, environment setup. Okay. For this, Puneet, let me. You just have to create any folder, like whichever you want to work on. So I create Angular underscore 4 underscore test. Okay, you have to go to the command line. And Puneet, first thing you need to do is you need to install the Angular command line, CLI, client for. So first of all, you have to do npm install. You have to do Angular hyphen, sorry, @Angular hyphen CLI. This will give you the latest CLI so that you can create Angular 4 projects. Like in Angular 1, we used to create the components, the classes, everything on our own. But in Angular 4, these all are automatic, right? So if you do this thing, it will basically install you the CLI, the client thing for the same, so that you can create the components on the fly. So it is downloading it from the npm, and you must have heard about npm. Are you aware about npm?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Node package manager.
So it's a repository, it's a nodes repository, node package manager, and people can upload their modules and we can take those modules. So it's like that, Puneet.
Yeah.
So it will take some time to get the things going.
Okay.
And how many years of experience you have, Puneet, into this IT sector?
1.10.
Okay, 1.10. Fine.
Hello.
Yeah, Puneet.
Actually, I have one doubt.
Yeah.
What is the difference between Angular 1 point and Angular 2? Like only annotation by only using annotations, right?
Yeah, kind of. Plus, there's a big difference in implementation. In Angular 1, we had a different. See, Angular is basically renowned because of its two-way binding, right? How data is binded between a model and a controller, view and a controller. So that logic is completely changed in Angular 2. In Angular 1, we used to have digest cycle. You must have heard about $digest. But in
Yeah, yeah,
Angular 2, we have some other implementation. You once you're free, do get into zones, ZONES. It is a feature by Dart.js, and Angular 2 implements zones to make that two-way binding possible.
Okay,
So
okay.
implementation wise, these are complete counterparts, completely different. And
Okay.
Angular 4 is just a synthetic sugar on your Angular 2. Two new concepts on Angular 2.
Okay.
On a generic level, I can say Angular 2 is basically a directory only. Like everything we are writing into a directory. Because what is directory? Directory is a standalone component in Angular 1 as well. Like you have a template in it, you have a controller in it. So
Yeah.
directory is a standalone unit. In the same way, Angular 2 have come up with a components basic. Like components is basically a template only. It's basically a directory only. Right.
Okay. Okay.
These things, this installing and all always depends on internet speed. So I suppose my net is a bit slow, so it is taking time. So let it take some time. And one more thing, like you are doing npm install @ Angular CLI, right, Puneet?
Yeah,
If
yeah.
you want to work on Angular 2 now, in that CLI @ and the version of Angular 2 CLI, because this will give you the Angular 4 only. Suppose if there is a requirement, you guys have to work on Angular 2. This CLI won't work for Angular 2 because dependencies are for Angular 4. So if you want to work on Angular 2, you have to install the CLI of Angular 2 on it.
Okay.
The CLIs are different, let me tell you. We are doing like this, npm install Angular, this has been CLI, this is for Angular for the latest one. If you want to try for Angular 2, it is CLI @1.o.o
Okay.
RC, something like that, that you have to search on Google. That is for Angular 2. So whichever version you want to create a project for, you can do it like this. Because most of the projects are into Angular 2, Puneet. Like if on that Angular 2, if you install Angular 4 CLI and start working on that, now the code will should break. So there will be a hotspot about the dependency. So whenever if you are migrating your project from Angular 2 to Angular 4, do it cautiously, right?
Okay.
And do you have any other doubt? Like you had a that doubt Angular 1 and Angular 2. Any further doubt?
Mm, nothing much because I'm new to first day I'm learning Angular 2, so I
Okay.
don't know much about Angular 2. In
Okay. Just give a few moments. See, I'll just keep the environment set up for some time. Let it load. Let me come to the implementation part, like how things are working, right? So
Okay.
once everything goes fine, now Puneet, like once
Okay.
you download the CLI and once you create a project from the CLI, you will get this folder structure. Can you see this folder structure? It
Yeah.
will be like this. Node modules are already aware about all the dependencies, right? So
Okay.
you can see @Angular common and compiler. If you go to common, you can go to compiler and you can see the things, right? So, okay. Second thing, how Angular works basically, see the folder. This is the main folder structure, Pratik, right? And over
Okay.
here you see this index.html. You must be aware like everything starts with index.html, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So whenever we are starting up a server, so you see this tag, approved tag. This is same like directives as well. Like in directives, we used to have these kind of tags, right?
Okay. Okay.
What Angular 2 does, it looks for the component with that select of approved. See, we have defined approved over here. It looks for the component and it finds that component in over here. Can you see the selector? I'm just jumping from one topic to another so that I can give you an idea. I'm not going into implementation much. I'm just giving a rough
Yeah.
idea. So can you see
Yeah.
there is a
Yeah.
selector over there? This
Okay.
selector shows like whenever index dot we find this kind of selector, it will come to this component and it will load this template. Can you see this template? It will load this template between those tags. Right.
Okay.
So whatever
Okay.
is there in this HTML, you can see this HTML has these two things. So it will start this two, it will display these two things over there. Right, Puneet? So this is how Angular 2 works. So these files I didn't create it, Manjeet. It created automatically. So whenever you want to create a separate component, Manjeet, you just have to hit a command and it will automatically create a component. If you want to create a directive, you just have to hit a command, Pratik, Puneet, and it will create a component for you, a directive for you, a CSS for you, anything, everything it will create. Right.
Okay.
So it's on the verge of downloading. Yeah, it's done almost. You can see, Puneet, it has downloaded all these dependencies. Okay, because Angular CLI needs these dependencies, right?
Yeah.
Now the main step is creating a project. You have to
Yeah,
create
yeah.
a project over here. For that you have to use ng. Ng is basically the CLI which we downloaded, right? Ng is a
Yes.
short form that CLI. New basically tells the Angular CLI like we are creating a new project, Puneet. And
Hmm.
after that we have to give a name of the project. Like I am giving it the name as test app, right? And if I press enter, what basically it will do, it will create a project for me with the name of tester. So ng is basically a client. We have given a name to our client ng internally. So can you see over here what exactly it did, Puneet? It created the file, if you can see. It created the HTML file for me, it created the TypeScript file for me, it created the module for me, it created the CSS, and you are from Angular 1, so you must have heard about these things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So karma and all. You must have heard about karma.config.json. You must
Yeah,
have
yeah.
heard about tsconfig.e. These double E2E are for protector and all test cases. So, and one more thing, Puneet, are you aware about TS TypeScript?
Sorry?
Are you aware about TypeScript?
TypeScript? No, no, no.
The Angular one we used to write in JavaScript, and in JavaScript we don't have type, right, right, Puneet? We can define a variable to 10, and in the next line I can define the same variable to string, right? But in
Yeah, yeah.
Angular, Angular 2 we are not using JavaScript, we are using TypeScript, and TypeScript is basically a language introduced by Microsoft. Angular is a
Yeah.
product of Google, but TypeScript, the code in which Angular is written is TypeScript, Puneet. So TypeScript, we are writing this Angular 2 code. So if you want to go into Angular 2, you have to go first of all in TypeScript, like how things work,
Okay.
right? And
Okay, okay.
TypeScript is basically bit specific. Like I'll tell you what things in TypeScript in the meantime the project gets created. See, Puneet, like in JavaScript, I can do this thing where a equals to 12, and in the give me a second. I can say where a equals to 12. Fine. In the next line, I can say a equals to any string. So do you feel this is something wrong? Like if we are defining a integer as a variable as an integer, we should not be changing its type at a runtime. Right, Puneet?
Yeah, yeah.
What TypeScript does like whenever you declare a variable, Puneet, you have to declare a type as well. This is static typing, you can say. JavaScript is a dynamic language, but TypeScript is a static language. You have to define a type for each and every variable. Right.
Yeah.
So this is
Okay.
just a list of TypeScript, like what exactly is TypeScript. Okay.
Okay.
So it is creating a project for you. Just give me a second. And basically, can you see this thing installing packages for tooling via npm?
Hmm.
So over here, basically, it is doing npm install. You must have heard about npm install. It reads
Yeah,
your
yeah.
package.json and downloads the dependencies. So this line is, it is internally doing your npm install as well. So let it install the dependencies as well parallelly. And in Angular one, what server you were using? Like you were using backend language or Node.js and all as a server-side language?
Sorry, sorry.
In Angular one, like as a server, which language you were using? Like you were
Uh,
using Node.js, you were using Java, .NET.
Python, Django.
Okay, Python.
In
So
Angular
currently,
2,
yeah.
in Angular 1, we will use routing for ng route or UI router for routing. In Angular 2, how it will be done?
In Angular 2, routing, I'll show you. Routing thing is a bit complex over here. See, routing,
Okay.
you can use a lot of routings are there in the market, Puneet. Like you must have heard about UI routing.
Yeah.
State routing, and there are two kinds of routing. One is a state and one is another one. So multiple you can say libraries are there in the market. So whichever you want to use, I'll be explaining that. Right.
Okay.
UI routing is there and normal routing is there. Right,
Okay.
but what exactly it does? Angular 2 has its own internal routing, a module. They have a module of routing, so you have to import that module and then you can use the routing of Angular 2. Right?
Okay.
Okay. So now can you see our project is successfully installed? Right?
Yeah, yeah.
Now we just need to go to our project. Like we'll do CD and we'll get into our project tab. So let's open this project into Sublime first. I'll show you how things are working. Sublime text tree. I'll open folder. Local, local. As I said, Puneet created these things for me on in the fly. Can you see it created me a HTML? Okay, it created
Yeah,
me a component. You can see a directive internally, and it created me a module. In Angular one we used to do Angular.module, right?
yeah,
Over here
yeah.
we are doing it like this. Okay, everything via annotation. So and we are
Okay.
bootstrapping it, and so and the next thing is running this application, right? To run this
Yeah.
application, see, run this simple application, you just have to say ng serve, and automatically if you ng serve now, so it will run your entire application on a server which is hosted on 4200, Puneet. But I
Okay.
suppose my port is busy, so let's see. It will give an error like the port is already occupied. But by default port is 4200 for Angular. Let me see, like do I have any running already? Yeah, I have already running on. So it said keep port is already in use. So what I'll do, Puneet, I'll mention this link port and I'll mention my personal port 1234. Let's run the application on port 1234. And one more thing, like Puneet, do you have any idea about Webpack and all? Bundling system, how JavaScripts are bundled into a unit.
No, I don't have, but I heard, but I don't know exactly how it works.
Okay, okay. So we will be covering the Webpack basis as well. Because what over here we are using ECMAScript 6, JavaScript 5, ESPS 2015 or JavaScript 6 came up with the approach of imports. Like suppose I go over here and if I do imports, Puneet, it will give an
Okay.
error because browser is yet not compatible with ES6.
Okay.
So to convert the ES code into the code which browser can understand, Webpack does that internally, right?
Okay.
Because
Okay.
imports is a feature of ES6 and ideally it should run in the browser, but it is not because this feature is not yet implemented. So to convert
Okay.
ES, so over here we are doing two things. First of all, we are converting TypeScript file to a JavaScript file, right? And secondly, we are converting the JavaScript which is ES 2016 to our language which browser can understand. Hello? 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 Puneet? Puneet? Understand JavaScript. And secondly, what
Okay.
exactly is happening? We are converting the JavaScript which is ES 2016 into the
Okay.
JavaScript which browsers can understand. Okay, so we are like converting TS to JS, which is compiling, and converting JS to browser understood JS, that is transpiling. Okay, so let me show you the code like which we just created. So I did ngserve. So can you see what exactly it did? It created me the bundles. If you let me share my screen, give me a
Hello.
second.
Hello.
Yeah, yeah. Am I
I
audible?
can't see. Yeah, you
Yeah,
can. You are, but I can't. Now I can see.
yeah. So I'm saying once I did ngserve and the port on port 1234. So can you see it created me certain bundles?
Okay.
Can you see these bundles? So
Yeah. Yeah.
and now let's see. Let's start our application. Like we just have to hit localhost 1234. 1234 and let's see what application we see. So can you see a sample application worked, Puneet? You just
Hmm.
have to install the CLI, create a new project, and automatically this will create you this application for you, a default application, so that you can try Angular 4. Now
Okay.
I'll show you what exactly are these bundles, Puneet. Right? Let's do one thing. If I say ng build, okay, I'll tell you this AOT later. What exactly is AOT? So let's ng build, and I want to show what exactly is there into these files. Can you see main.bundle.js? So our entire code, Puneet, is there into main.bundle.js. Our entire code, whatever files are there. And can you see this
Okay.
vendor.bundle.js? The
Yeah.
Angular compiler actually, Angular compiler is there into vendor.bundle.js.
Compiler.
So
Okay.
get it complete, I'll show you. Okay, so let's go to our project and let's see how files are working now. So can you see it has created me a dist folder. So let's go to dist folder and if I see your main.bundle.js, can you see our entire code is there into this file. This file is served in the browser actually. We can't
Okay.
see all these files. Whatever files are there in app, these all files are not served to the browser. These files are somewhere concatenated and created into a single main file, which is main.bundle.js, and this file is basically served to your browser, Puneet.
Hmm.
Right? Because
Okay.
right, so let's do this again. Let's create ng serve and let's start our application. I want to show you how you can see those things in browser as well. So if we have our application, if I go to inspect, that is empty. Give me a second. So let's refresh the page. Our server is up, Puneet, right? Let's refresh the page. Go to inspect element and go to network. Can you see it downloaded at this main.bundle.js, which I was talking about? So this file is basically loaded into your browser, Puneet.
Okay.
Right. So this is a basic setup of Puneet Angular 4, like how Angular 4 works. And Angular 4 has dependencies on, you can say, first of all, ECMAScript 6, Puneet, the latest version of ECMAScript. So I'll tell you like what are the prerequisites for it. First of all, ES6 is the prerequisite. Second thing, TypeScript is the prerequisite, Puneet. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Third one is Webpack, or you can say module loaders.
Okay.
These are the prerequisites which I'll be covering first, like what is ES6, what is TypeScript, how to convert TypeScript into JavaScript at runtime. Because browsers only understand JavaScript. There is no point giving TypeScript to them, right? So converted TypeScript into JavaScript and converting ES6, latest JavaScript, into a JS which browsers can understand, Puneet. because
Okay.
browsers can still understand ES5. They are not able to understand ES6. Few features they are able to understand. Like if I go over here and if I say let a equals to 12. So it understood let. Let is a feature of ES6. So few features are implemented into browsers and few are not, Puneet. So those features which are not implemented in browsers now, for those we use transpilers. So I will be covering this part as well, transpilers. So have you heard about Puneet Babel and this thing, whatever I'm writing, Babel and Traceur?
No.
So these are the basics of Angular 2. Like Babel basically converts ES6 2015, the ES6 into the thing with JavaScript which browsers can understand. So
Okay.
we will be covering all these things, Puneet. Now you can ask few things if you want. Like this is the thing which I wanted to say, environment setup, and before environment we need to understand these things first, because without these things writing the code would be good difficult.
Okay. Okay.
So you can ask now, like I explained you things. So do you have any doubt about things which I just said?
I don't have any doubt, but as my first day in Angular 2, it's become difficult to understand how things are going work.
That
So
that's the thing, because see, Puneet, I can do one thing. I can directly jump to code, but that would be pretty much bad. Like you can write the code direct as well, but if you don't know the basics, Puneet, there is no point. So that's the
yeah,
reason I am going from very beginning. I'm telling you the basics first, and then I'll go to code. Because I have seen people who directly jump to code, and which is something wrong. Like later on, after like you are somewhere around 2 years of experience. Once you go to 3 or 3.5 years, so at that time your company needs, like your company expects you to be completely into Angular. You should be knowing each and every basics of that. At that time you will face the difficulties. So I believe, like, before learning the language, learn all the prerequisites first.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
That's the thing we'll be covering, and we'll be using which editor basically you use, Puneet?
So sorry,
Editor, which editor you use?
Sublime Text.
Sublime. So see, I'll suggest you one editor. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'll suggest you VS Code, because in VS Code, Puneet, later on you can debug your code as well. VS Code gives you a feature to debug your code. So if possible for you, try with VS Code, Puneet, because you can start a debugger over here as well in the editor itself, and you can
Okay.
do the things.
Okay. Okay. Then I have one more doubt.
Yeah,
Hello.
yeah. Tell me.
In AngularJS, we will be using unit testing and creating run files, gulp file,
Yeah.
everything. In Angular 2, how it will be done?
In Angular to see, gulp and grunt were the very beginning. See, module loading started with grunt actually. After grunt, gulp came. After gulp, we had a thing of system.js. Now the latest is webpack. If you are doing
Okay.
webpack, you don't have to consider grunt and gulp. I can tell you grunt and gulp as well. So these are just the module bundlers. So whichever bundle you want, you can use it. But Angular 2 comes with webpack internally. So you should
Okay.
not be manipulating it. Angular 2 has made a standard that it will run on Webpack 2. It can run on Grunt and Gulp as well, but it's recommended to use Webpack.
Okay. About unit testing?
Yeah, it's the same thing. Karma is a task runner and Jasmine is a language. You can see over here as well. It created the test cases on the run. On the fly, it created the test cases. Okay, src. Change this pack.ts file. So it created me a structure of a test case. It's the
Yeah.
same thing. And if you want to run the test case, so you just have to go to package.json and you just have to say npm run test. So let's run and let's try the test case as well how it works. So we just have to do
Yeah.
npm run test.
Okay. Okay.
It will start running your test cases as well. So this is how things are working, Puneet, in Angular 2 world. So there are pretty much new things which you need to understand. And one more thing I'll say, there was a version of Angular which is Angular 1.6. what Angular 1.6 did, Puneet, it came up with the features of Angular 1 and Angular 2 as well. So
Okay.
1.6 is the only version which has the component in it, because components came in Angular 2. But this is not the reality. Component actually came in Angular 1.5 and Angular 1.6. So the basics of component started from Angular 1.5 and 1.6 versions. Hello? 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 Puneet? Like how, what
Okay.
actually Angular 4 is, what are the prerequisites you have to do with Angular 4. You have to learn TypeScript, you have to learn Webpack and all module bundlers. I will give an example about Grunt and Gulp as well. If you're interested, I'll show you the things for Grunt and Gulp as well, how these things work. So all these
Okay.
things are there in Angular internally.
Okay.
And
Then I have
performance
one.
wise, yeah,
Hello.
yeah, tell me.
And how inbuilt directives will be used in Angular 4? Like ng include ng model and all.
Yeah, those, let me show you. Mm, let me show you my already created example.
Okay.
Okay, go to this page, HTML. Can you see this thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, my screen is shared. Yeah. So this thing is the new way of writing the NG model. In Angular when we used to write NG model, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
This is the right new way of writing NG model. This is the new way of writing NG click. So I'll
Okay.
explain you these things as well. Can you see this square bracket and the round bracket?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
These also have significance. And the round bracket in click. So these things are written like this in Angular 4.
Okay. Hello.
Yeah,
Hello.
yeah, Puneet.
Uh, okay. Then what are all the topics is there in Angular 4? Like form,
Angular
directive,
4
data binding.
directives are there. The data binding in directives, we have structural and attribute directives. Then we have the routing part, Puneet. Routing is again divided into lazy loading as well. How lazy loading is basically done. Now, then Angular 2 routing has inbuilt 2 to 3 more concepts. Then we'll say communication between two components. Can you see two components are there? How two components can communicate? Then how two modules can communicate? Right? How we can create our sample custom attribute, custom component. So a lot of things are there. So I'll be covering all. Like most probably I'll be covering all the concepts of Angular 2. And if you want to see like what I'll be covering for Angular 2, give me a second. Can you see my screen?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Hello? I'll be
Hello.
covering these things. Environmental set. Yeah. Am I audible?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'll be covering the environmental setup, the bootstrap process, how basically bootstrapping is done, system configuration. I'll be telling you ng module as well, TypeScript I'll be telling you, module loaders, you can say Webpack and all. What are components, what are ng if, ng4, ng switch, what are forms, how forms basically work, how dependency injection is there in Angular 4. So a lot of
Okay.
things are there. So Angular 4 is a big thing. So I'll be covering most probably all the things in Angular 4 as well. Right.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else, Puneet, you want to ask? Puneet? Puneet? Puneet is there? Two, we don't have any scope, so we don't use scope or digest, watch, anything we won't be using.
Okay. Then how it will be overcome from that here? Is there any inbuilt functionality
The
is there?
inbuilt activity is using zone. If you go into zone.js, zone.js, it has the
Okay.
implementation of the same. So they don't have any scope over here in here. So whatever you were using scope.watch, scope.digest, scope.apply. So we don't have scope now in Angular 2.
Okay, okay. Then this session storages.
Session storages, these are the caches now. So caches are, these are the same. Browser things are the same. They have not changed. Only the scope and the implementation have changed.
Okay, okay. Then okay. I don't have any this thing. Then this one. Is there any project related project of the course?
Project like Puneet, we'll be working parallelly on the project as well. I don't want I can give you up. I can give you a project anytime. But if it, there's a point like I'll be side by side assisting in the project, Puneet. So that at the end
Okay.
of the our training, you would be having something concrete in your hand, which is prepared by you only. So you would be knowing each and every part of that project.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. Then how long this course will be there?
Angular 2 will take your 18 to 20 hours of classes.
Okay.
Okay, and these things are predefined. These things are already included, TypeScript, Webpack, and all. So overall, 18 to 20 hours, we will be covering Angular 2.
Okay. Angular 4?
See, Angular 4 is just update. Only 1 or 2% changes are there in Angular 4. That's it. So Angular 2 or Angular 4, only the CLI is different. Code is absolutely the same for both. Only the CLI is different. So you can say Angular 4 will take 18 hours. So that will cover Angular 2 and Angular 4 both.
Okay, okay. Okay. Mm.
4 is just a minor release. I know version 2 and version 4 looks like it's a major release, but no, it's just a minor release. 2 and 4.
Okay.
Actually, they were having some issues with the series of 3. So late they jumped that series and they created Angular 4. So people think like it's a major version, but it's not. It's just a minor version.
Okay. Okay. Then I don't have any doubts other than this.
Okay. No issues, Puneet. So let's see. Let's see how it goes. Let's make the things
Okay.
further. Let's make things go further. Timing and all,
Okay.
if you have any requirement, specific requirement about the timing, what extra timing you would be needing for the online session, we those are flexible, we can later discuss.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hello?
Yeah.
Hello?
Puneet,
Hello?
yeah, am I audible?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Now we are.
So yeah, so yeah, that's all from my Puneet, from my side. Like I in the very beginning, I don't go much into the code. I only give a rough introduction, like how Angular 2 basically works for. So
Yeah.
this is all I have. Like.
Okay, okay. Uh, okay. Can we wind up
Right.
this?
Yeah, so let's wind up. You can have a word with people from the Leo trainings, okay?
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
let's see how things go. Let's hope for the best only. Okay.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Bye. Take care.
Oh.